Okay, cool. Alright, so 13-3, same conditions as yesterday's K-Corp review. Caitlyn, Elise, Ashe for Annie, Sivir. Okay, so Kate first ban, alright, indicates that you want to go for Ashe more than anything to me. That you'd be looking to get heavy priority on bot side, and we'd be thinking about counters to that. Annie gets removed because we're on piss broken Annie patch. Not any of the bot lanes yet. Then Sivir gets removed. And then the really interesting thing is that Annie for Elise, that makes sense. You want to go with a heavy priority bot lane pick first that won't get countered by something like Caitlyn. Sure. But then if you're banning the Elise, this tells me you must be going for some scaling kind of bot lane. And so the Sivir is responded to with the ban, right? And then the Ashe confirms it. Because with the Caitlyn ban, you could just be thinking, I don't want them to go Caitlyn with something like Karma or Varus or something like this that would hard counter a Heim Ashe lane. Or, not counter, but can contest with it. Bot lane is a heavy prio for me, right? So then you might be tempted to just ban the Ashe yourself here. There's another broken OP pick on this patch from 13-1B instead, which is the Annie, right? So, fuck it, you do this now, and then when they ban the Elise, it reveals that they're actually concerned with scaling on the bot side rather than with priority. So your response becomes the Sivir, they confirm with the Ashe that they have no interest in playing priority bot lane. That's interesting because it calls into question possible restrictions happening on Rebels. Because I still think with this remove, one of these two would be an optimal first pick. You would actually be looking to ban a jungler to get stronger first jungler, or neither jungler to try to get Ashe, right? The other thing that could happen would be that if you ban neither jungler nor Ashe here, and you go Ashe first, they go Elise or Maokai, and you go Maokai with the Kate ban, maybe they just ban one of the junglers here on third, right? So say that you did that and they ban the Elise. Then if you go Ashe, they go Maokai, and you could still lose 3v3 bot lane. Right? So maybe then, given the Annie dynamic, it might be best to start doing two bans like this here, even if you think you can nail some. Otherwise, what I would honestly do would be, like, look to ban two junglers and first pick Ashe, to be honest, right? But the issue with Red banning last is that you can't just go for a Gambit where you get +1 jungler, +1 support / AD pick, which is heavy priority, right? You can't go for that when they can just remove the +1 jungler here, right? But that's all fixed if you're not banning the Kate. If you have the ability to go into an Ashe Heimerdinger lane, you just leave both junglers up, right? And then if they ban a jungler, you go the other jungler, they go Ashe Heim, you go for ADC and support role, right? So whereas this all sounds then like Rebels are responding to a potential draft issue, it's a self-imposed issue, realistically speaking. And you still have the option here, right? With this jungle ban, right? You could also just ban jungler here and then force them to ban Ashe, but I prefer the scenario that I talked about before. And then I would just prioritize Elise, let them go Ashe, and go the Caitlyn Varus lane or something like this, right? Caitlyn Lux is really common as well, but I think ADC supports have the best ways to deal with Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger not being as good right now, so I just don't value the Ashe as much anyway. But with Ashe, I'd still value Heimerdinger, just not as much as before. I think they're really easy ways to control it. I assume the Sivir would have been one of the ways as well, which is why when the Sivir is banned, then they choose to ban the Ashe, right? I'd assume that from this. If I was scouting the teams, this is how I would start to determine how I think Rebels think, right? When going against them, you know? Like, why would this signal this ban, right? Now, it could be that all three of these bans are preset no matter what, in this order, right? But then the way that you would test that if you're a scout is that you go through all their other drafts. And if you see repeatable things like Sivir for Ashe ban, right? If you see repeatable things like the self-imposition of the Elise Ashe on this side, with no bans on this side to the contrary, right? If priority ADCs are always high bans for them, that's when you can start to tell what do they think they're weak into, what do they think they're good with, how will they react when I do XYZ, right? 13-4 is the Maokai nerfs, and we're on 13-3 to Darkoplex. So if Maokai was weak here, then this is just shit, because you just go Elise. Why would you ban the Elise, you know? Ah! Ziggs! I almost forgot who's here. Huh. So they've managed to get Maokai first pick, because for some weird reason, Movistar just kind of forgot Maokai exists. Is Reito like just absolutely stomping on this Ziggs pick, or? And if so, surely you ban it here, and then ban Maokai anyway. Because then if they don't respond to the Sivir ban with an Ashe ban, and they go Ashe anyway, you get Sivir. What, the Ziggs ban, man? Is it... Okay, one of these guys has to be hardcore prioing Ziggs right now. Or there's some fucking 13-3 Ziggs dynamic that I am woefully unaware of, as was everybody in the LFL. I mean, they have Gadget. I think against Gadget I'd be banning APs. Okay, Scrim Leaks? The fuck? Okay. They missed the Maokai ban with such dogshit aim. The fuck? There, look! Look! I want to see their reactions to the Ziggs ban. Which one's this? This is a haha sick. Okay. That's Reito. So the guy who was pointing at the screen is Reito, then this must be for Reito. Like, I know this guy plays those kinds of champs, but he hasn't actually done it this split. Okay. Maokai match with Sedge into Ezreal. Here you don't really reveal any kind of priorities in terms of where you're looking to play the game around, but you do have a jungler that can match Maokai early, just albeit not as effectively. Does demand more melee champs on the team, but otherwise... I mean, no Caitlyn. I guess it's easier to do Ezreal here now. No Caitlyn, no Ashe, but I would immediately think something like Varus would be really good. Like, right now you'd want to match AD and prefer not to match support, so if you can go into some really sick blind, now would be when you do it. So I would think about, in the same reason why I think, like, Cassante 4th pick was really broken for ages, I think here would be where you would go, like, a blind top, right? Treats on scapegoating. I will watch that later. Okay, so that would be your... This would be your blind top. It's also a blind flex, right? So the enemy can't just insta-counter. Into Karma. So Karma Maokai does work really well. Both of these are flexes, so you can't just assume you're responding to a support, and you can't just counter-pick bot like that. You can't assume you're responding to a top or a mid. It's actually just really difficult to respond in general to the Rebels draft if they go these two. But you're looking to just ban ADs anyway if you're Movistar, right? You can't do an insta-response to this, but you can respond to the lack of an ADC pick in your next ban phase. So Reito's definitely not getting the Varus, for example. Varus, Ashe, Caitlyn will all be down. If Zaya's down, then most of the meta picks are down. I guess Zeri would still be up. Zeri would go quite well with this comp. So I guess you're choosing between like Zeri and Xayah. I don't think you care about Xayah with the way the draft's going right now. Actually, you might do because of what you have to pair with the Sedge. Okay, so matching Jace with Sion, fair. That is the old way. Though I will say, I wonder if we like Maokai into Sion now. Because we used to really like Maokai into Sion. Oh. Has Maokai legit just lost all viability as a top laner? Because I used to really like that matchup. The issue... I mean, it's all about W timing with Maokai, right? Like, if you have W timing for Q on Sion, then you can actually win the matchup quite hard. And I feel like in the current state of Maokai, it could be a really good matchup for him. But that would be some Nostradamus tech to have prepped that, you know? I don't think of Marky as like a Sion player. I think of him as like a Camille Fiora player, right? Jax is up, for example. So now they're buffering up their Sion instead of banning out the rest of the ADs in the game. Like if you ban Zeri and either Varus or Xayah, I think you're chilling. And I honestly think you just ban Varus Zeri, to be honest. But they've gone with a top lane pick that they're not confident blinding. They don't have a flex they can do into these. Like, you can match Kled into Jace, either top or mid, right? And you're not locked into too much AD by doing that in this draft. So there are things you could pick that could just match the Jace wherever he goes. But if you're going to lock this and lose your window to just decimate an ADC pool that's already been hit by multiple bans, I don't know, man. That being said, okay, so let's think, like, if we just don't think about it in terms of meta, you have Karma with Maokai pick, it could actually be a Kai'Sa angle into an Ezreal. So then you don't, on that argument, you don't lose that much by banning out this way as Movistar, right? Because if you think outside of meta angles, I'm also looking at melee. They don't want to be full counter picking bot lane right now, so hopefully they go last pick. But if they don't, like say they look to do a melee here, right, then this is a Vayne game with Karma on the team and Maokai, right? So I can actually think of non-meta ways to abuse the Ezreal pick. The way around that would be, why is this an Ezreal and why isn't it a Xayah or a Varus, right? These don't have the kind of options I'm talking about, in which case if you picked Varus, you probably don't really care if they go Ezreal here, but if you do, you can ban that plus ban Zeri, and then all they have is like Xayah. I mean, Kai'Sa into Ezreal would be pickable with this comp. I've seen Kai'Sa work in ERLs already, and I mean, Vayne works here if this pick is like melee support, right? Like, they have to ban top anyway. Like, then that makes this kind of pointless. Okay, it's a Vayne game, by the way. It's a Vayne game if they lock this. It's a Vayne game, and they're like, now you can just counterpick bot here as well. Like, this could be Karma mid, Jace top, Maokai jungle, and a full counter pick in mid. This is a Vayne game. This is just a Vayne game. And if the Scion is intending to just match the Jace in mid or top, by the way, Valakir, then I hate these bans. I hate these bans. Because then you're always intending to go sup here, because you have to reserve last pick for solo lane. And there are counters to both of these, but this is a really good Vayne game. Like, this is such a good Vayne game. Oh god, but please. Oh man! Oh man! No self-respecting AD carry is gonna see his Karma Maokai comp into this Ezreal, Sedge, Scion, Rakan, and not think Vayne. This is a Vayne game. Oh, this is the most Vayne of Vayne games. Please, 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 no, no, this is a Vayne game. How is this not a Vayne game? Oh my god, man. Be honest, how hard were you begging for Vayne here? If he's dishonest, if he is dishonest, he says he wasn't. But in reality, I know every fibre of his ADC brain is screaming Vayne. How is this not perfect? Am I high here? Why is your brain screaming cog? Oh, wherever. Okay, yeah, I guess you're counter-engaged, whatever. Great, brilliant, fantastic. He doesn't give a shit about your feathers. Fuck off, man. This is a Vayne, this is a premium Vayne moment. Valakir! Why are you just looking up the ADC stats of... Ooh, Kai'Sa. Why are you just looking up the ADC stats on everything? Like, fuck it. He's almost definitely played Vayne in solo queue, alright? There's no way this isn't a Vayne game. And there's no way he hasn't played Vayne in solo queue at some point. Like, he knows how to play Vayne. He's an ADC. Come on. Come on. Unless he's fucking useless. Okay, blind Orianna. I think with a Maokai composition, Orianna has value. I'd prefer more than just Maokai here, but like I think Orianna has value with that. But if you don't have a champion that can act as a ball delivery system in jungle, like a Hecarim, a Maokai, Rammus, all these kinds of obvious champs, then I think Victor is better, and Zico's Victor is something I'd always bet on. But in this context, I think Orianna works. You would normally care a lot about the fact that Ezreal's on the enemy team here, but honestly, Maokai, like, negates that issue. Could Blue not have gone Gwen and kept Jace blind mid? What do I think about Scion to Gwen? I mean, we're operating under the risk that Frescoe could be going Scion mid, because it has been done already by Zwyroo. So I'm not sure if you were to go Gwen, how effective that would be. I just don't think it's that good with your comp. Well, Silas gets Ori ult, Silas gets Maokai ult, the rest of them shit, but yeah. It's not horrible. I feel like this is like... By the way, I do feel like this is a Kassadin game as well. Like with that pick, I think you can actually pull Kassadin off here. Rise for which side? No, Oriana's better. You're thinking about what? Liandry's rise into Ezreal here? Is that what you're thinking about? I mean, I'll give you the I'll give you the big one you should be thinking about. Cassiopeia. Look at this position and tell me how it isn't a Cassiopeia game as well. Imagine these last two locks were Vayne Cassio. How omni-over is the game? It's Vayne Cassiopeia last rotation for me here. Like, I'd explore that at least. Like, Cassiopeia fucks this up and Vayne fucks everyone up. What, realistically, what mids am I worried about with if I lock Cassio here? That's what I'm trying to think. Well, I want to say Fresquey plays Xerath, but I don't think that's true at all. Fresquey in my head is like a Galio player, you know? Like, he's a map player, you know? Okay, let's just get into the game anyway. Interesting draft. I feel like loads of Cassio opportunities just vanish. You know, like, they're sponsored by Domino's? I want to get in on that. Oh, baby! They're sponsored by Domino's. I feel like I see frequently really good Vayne opportunities just pass teams by. I don't know if that's like, there are so few Vayne opportunities in general that when you see one on stage, you don't insta-recognize it, but... Yeah, I'll move Cam. Here, I think. Koi is sponsored by Disney Plus. Both things that suck. I'm waiting to see. I mean, there isn't huge level 1 opportunities on either side. I think this team has a potent level 1. But I'm not thinking about map splitting, right? Because I have a Karma Prio bot lane. I have a Jace top side. So in this situation, I'd probably look to path top side towards Jace, but do a leashless no matter what, right? And if I'm doing a leashless on bot side, I have the opportunity to free camp into bot gank, into reset, into top side, right? So Juwani might look to do a similar thing with her clear, but my Jace will be safer overall. So I think I'm fine here. I mean, I don't know why the Xayah was picked. Like, the Xayah makes no sense. It was an insta-lock Vayne game. Like, Jace's early lane into Sion's really good. He can't play this super heavy for prio if he's used to how junglers are parving in this season. Like, if he ends up on a slow push now, Sejuani will just peel off and do gank here. And then you just trade sides, but you don't want to do that with your Jace, right? Monk, did you win your game? What's up, Brackish Brit? Thanks for the follow. I really don't care about this, because this is really safe, because of the Maokai. These guys don't have the same lane conditions as Jason to Sion does, so I want to see what Jace is doing with the wave topside, to determine how the game's going right now. Oh, okay. You should have been playing Warzone earlier then. Okay, it's the second wave crash, but they actually got such a significant amount of HP dropped here that it's worth it. There's zero purpose to a second wave crash in this lane at all. The only reason that it would ever be good to be in a second wave crash scenario is if you got it off of the back of a significant amount of damage. But they're basically locked into a second wave crash, like, super early. Like, they're kind of already locked on it, unless Super decides not to. Yeah, this is way too much damage, right? And none of it's actually being done for trades. Neither of them are really positioned well. Super is kind of making up for Alvaro's positioning here. There's zero purpose behind them doing this, because Obstinatus can't just reset off of the wave crash and get anything more than his HP back, but that just gives them a lot of value against Xayah, doesn't want to be here either. So these guys have to choose to make this good, right? I don't think Super should be thinking about slowing the push down. I think Super should want the situation that's about to occur. Because if they end up with a slow push into free early, then they're in a really good position. Here they could have, like, slowed, but then they just decide not to, and they're not getting trades off of it. They're just kind of, like, living in the moment, you know? And I don't know what any of this is. I don't know what any of this is from Alvaro. I have no idea what's happening here. So, like, it ends up being good, but, like, the decision to push was done absent of all of this, right? I have no idea. Like, here, you're already inting. Like, here, it should really be, like, Super here, Alvaro here, because if Alvaro's in a position where he can be forced around the terrain to here, he's fucked. And if he has to go within this angle, he's also fucked. It's just a good position for Obstinatus. So they already fucked up really early on. Like here, I think Alvaro just changes sides, to be honest. I reject the criticism of Super. Alvaro should just be moving back with Super and just be oinking here. I just don't know what he's doing. Nothing good can come with this. The wave is already crashing on 2. You've already gotten what you wanted. Why would you make it good? Maybe it's just because Obstinatus missed so much shit early that he's thinking he can do it. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, it's just pointless. Ultimately, whatever Jason's doing topside didn't warrant Sejuani moving top, or Sej sucks, one of the two. Sej will never do a level 2 either. What Sej could have done is done free camp here into a topside on Jace, depending on what happened with the wave. Sej is not going to do like a 2 into bot gank, like a Lee or a Xin or something like this would, but never a Sej. Maokai could do something bot side, but obviously if you're pushing, you're not setting up the wave for that. And if you want to set it up to dive, look at the timing, right? Maokai would never be here on time, on free for that, so you'd want to have a slower push anyway. So you miss opportunities doing this, but Alvaro is an inter. If this guy doesn't lose HP, think about what could happen now, right? If Alvaro doesn't lose that HP, think about what could happen now. There'd be an additional turret shot going off here, right? Super wouldn't have done the additional hit on the minion. So the waves, instead of meeting here, would meet here. And then suddenly these guys can trade HP to get level 3 before them and start a slow push into them. If they get level 3 over these two, then they can start looking for a dive. But they can't do anything aggressive to ensure a slow push forward because Alvaro lost so much HP. Right? In solo lanes that's huge because literally on the next wave you would just get level 3 first. And also the timings are much finer. Like, see how these guys got level 3 off the cannon wave? Whereas these guys are struggle city for another wave, right? Like, if you do this mistake on mid, it's fucking death. Because they'll hit level 3 with the turret helping them get the cannon to level 3. That's the thing, right? You'll hit level 3 with the fucking turret helping them get the cannon wave for level 3, right? So if you level 2 crash in a solo lane, you basically guarantee that if you're against like a Z or anything all in like that they just fuck you up. Of course, my chat's arguing about Cogmore with Monk there. Spooder Sus 1 and Brackish Brit and Z Shredder, thank you for the follows. Okay. Jace got slow push into full crash. This wave will bounce. This is a really good situation for him. Turret's hitting this, doesn't have to hit these because this will insta-gib into insta. I am not sure if this is a good position. Because look at how low these are. If Frescoe has, in 3 seconds, Zico just queued out, I feel like Frescoe is like guaranteed to crash this wave and fuck off and recall, no? Well, he's gone for it. Apparently, Zico did have a queue. No, he's guaranteed, he's guaranteed. We're good. I wasn't trolling in my head. My head was not trolling. Okay, we're good. We're good, guys. I'm rewinding not to see mid, but to see bot. Okay, so Alvaro had to recall. So now Ezreal could get locks in lane for a bit. Obviously, at this point, like, you should be aware of the scuttle timing, static every single game. So, whereas you can lock Ezreal in, if you attempt to freeze, right, knowing that Alvaro could be on reset, like, if you know Alvaro's reset and you try to freeze on Ezreal, you then try to freeze in a 2v2 scenario against the Sedge, and that can work, right? Frescoe doesn't have the HP to go on you, so you can do a long play here to try to freeze on the Ezreal. If you do a push, do I think you can 2v2 on the slow pushed wave? I think you can, but I think if you start a slow push here, Super just also takes the recall or takes the L and just stays under turret. So then if you do that, if you start a slow push now, would you be in a position to dive them when Maokai gets back? Because he'd recall... Well, if Maokai can be there, then Ezreal can recall and catch the wave. So you'd need knowledge of that. I guess you can have knowledge of that, because it can only be Sedge and Ez. So now, you need to prevent Ezreal recalling. And then maintain the slow push. And Karma and Xayah can do that, given that only Sedge can be here, given that Alvaro's in base and Frescoe can't be a part of this play. In old seasons, that wouldn't even be true, because Frescoe could teleport, but... God bless the new age. Hey, Spooder, sus one. Spirit of Sus 1 or Rayito's Smurf account on Twitch, where he says things he wouldn't admit to his team. Like how you just insta-lock Vayne, man! You just insta-lock the Vayne! Okay. So, they do have the angle there. They do interrupt Ezreal. They interrupt Ezreal into Crash instead of slow pushing for another wave, right? And it's fine to do it this way, right? It's fine to do it this way. Alternatives are such that I don't know how Jace's wave is on top here, but like Maokai could just reset here and move bot with this wave, right? And then you'd be looking to dive on this wave meeting, right? But Rayito doesn't really have the mana for it. It is an Ezreal with full sums, and Alvaro will be back off a reset. So with all that calculus in mind, it might not be so worth to attempt, right? Given that this guy has successfully got his recall off, it's not really real to do a dive. So instead, slow pushing into recall's good. Ezreal actually does get a wave reset on bot, so no big advantages either side. I mean, it's just the brain dead Vayne build ended up becoming the standard Vayne build, so like you should, if you're playing Vayne, you are going the tank Vayne build. But no one in Superliga likes top lane or what? I swear my camera's just never been top where I'm really interested now. Because like Jace, post 6, this matchup gets a lot harder for Jace. The matchup is interesting now. And I'm not seeing any of it. I've seen it for like 10 seconds. Alright, so you have a kind of awkward set of resets here for Maokai. So we can't judge Maokai the same that we judge others, right? So Maokai needs to go to whichever camp is most relevant for the most immediate next play. And I would argue the immediate next plays for Maokai are escort top and then defend mid on next wave. So this incoming wave. So under that argument, I guess doing the Raptors, I mean, I'd argue first and foremost, both junglers should really have looked for a recall by now. Like, Winbot recalls here, I don't see a reason not to be recalling. Actually, wait, I completely backtrack on what the fuck I just said. Frescoe has reset, you need to unlock Orianna for reset. So that is the immediate job that Maokai has. I'm not sure how well suited invading enemy raptors is to doing that, but okay. I would be thinking of making a play with this Karma for the wave mid, unlock Zico, do your own raptors, Zico comes back, and then maybe you make a play in Silas if Frescoe touch the wave during that. Because it's a cannon here, right? And I don't think you want to risk HP here. But then again, I don't see how Maokai's doing this. This could well have been started already ages ago, and it could be about to be done. I don't know. You have Obstinatus here at least. You have Maokai rolling in. On this wave is when you really want to help. Karma kind of wants to match the reset of Rakan here, and you can see she's feeling it, but the bigger priority is definitely to help Zico out here. Top is fine. Raven could look to move mid lane, but I think he needs to prioritize reset, and he doesn't really have the mana. If he gets pinned down in jungle here, I'm not sure he's actually able to be effective on this mana. Okay, there you go. We've unlocked mid. Mid successfully crashed. But we die. Kinda weird, though. Because they definitely see Sedge here. I'm just trying to think if there's, like, anything different. So I think he... First off, I think he absolutely had to do this. Right? I think he had to prevent Rakan going in. These two need to be safe. He's body blocking the Silas. Honestly, I wouldn't expect to die like that. I guess a fight being able to happen at all is bad. I guess the mistake, honestly, is just that you're not helping on the wave here. Like, right now you have numbers disadvantage on the fight. Right? If the objective is to reset this, and you're on a wave reset on bot lane, you have ADC going this way, because Ezreal's not about to pressure the wave. If ADC starts moving this way and Ezreal starts hitting the wave, then ADC just goes down bot. Easy, right? You're not really at risk of losing anything here. You're not at risk of losing any more than going down here. So ADC should be joining as well. Maokai should be prepping to do something with the Karma here, right? And you need to have all of these people here because you know Fresque's already been on reset and has item advantage. But like Xayah right now would be here. And you could easily just get a reset for Zico and then drop ADC off on bot. So two things that could be done differently. One, you could grab the Xayah there, and two, Maokai could just go earlier, right? Because if Maokai's not going for Raptors here, then he's trying to reset Zico on this wave. And it looks like he's thinking about doing it, but then like he gets called off or something, right? Whereas I do think he should be doing it now. I do think he should be doing it now with the Karma, right? Like, I think you just play the wave from here, you know? Have the Karma come along, and you're all good. Otherwise, if you delay, you wait for the Xayah, right? And with the Xayah, you guarantee win this. If you have a priority advantage on bot, why not use it here? You know, why not use it here? And hell, if these guys extend into a die, if you have Jason recall into TP here, into go top. Stop, man. I've had too much cheese in the last 24 hours. I can't. I have actually had too much cheese. You can check my Twitter to see what I had today with cheese. Alright, we're about to hit 5:30. What does that mean? Level 6 wave on solo lanes. This wave is level 6, and this wave is level 6. This reminds me of X spoke earlier this year of actually learning macro areas on early seating. True. Ah. Okay, that's really interesting. So Fresco shoves one out, starts recalling. He gets the recall off, right? But Orianna gets sight of that recall and knows Fresco's gone back to spend gold. So Orianna gets a free roam off this. So, top side is actually vulnerable, but the whole team's playing bot side. So is there a possibility of using bot side? Drake is up, right? And we need to see the wave bot. These are the things we need to think about now. Because Orianna chooses to hard shove this. She doesn't play for lane here. It's a wave reset, but on a wave reset, you can always play to deny at least 3 minions from your opponent on every wave, right? She chooses not to do this, so she sees a potential play. That play could be Drake. You are technically on time, because if Sion was 6, this half roam would turn into like an engage on Drake. But I'd assume this would be a Drake play from Rebels coming in. She wards top side, crashes, hard bot plays happening from Rebels, right? Maokai doesn't just clear into top side, hard bot plays. They are considering the Drake. And Zico gets 6 on that wave. Freskery recalled and gave Orianna a free roam on the level 6 wave. So it's really good that we opened that sequence by talking about that timing, because that's actually huge. So they have full control of Drake Pit. They start the Drake up. Sylas should be getting 6 off this wave, but Orianna's first in. It's a wave reset on mid, but the wave meets with the Drake already at 4.3k, and I guess bot had priority the whole time, but we didn't really get to see much of that. Okay, so they're shoving a wave in now. They could try to punish this Drake by holding a freeze, but if they do that, you just get a lean down from the Drake to break the freeze, and Orianna then shallow goes back towards mid. Anybody wanna do something? So, I agree you should collapse on A flank. I'm not sure if there's just like huge miscoms happening, but like I feel like Obstinatus either stays here with his team and pokes these guys out, and then they all go on one of this, or this, or if Obstinatus is going out now, everyone should already be going. He's way too far ahead. Like just RE your team in and W, you know? Anyone want to go? We have an Orianna with a ball. The ball is threatening everyone here, but I think technically Isma is just fine for this. You can burst with the ball to secure this for sure, by the way. Oh! Okay, so they don't use the ball ult for that. He gets a free with like 0 follow-up, because he doesn't have any follow-up champs. Reito's already going the correct way. Sylas gets the Maokai ult out. Oh, nice by Reito. Nice, 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 nice. How has Gadget been, actually? Any Gadget fans in the chat? For me, it's like, he's a nice guy, but I never really want to see him play ADs. Oh no! Oh no! What a clusterfuck, actually. But like from this position. Did he need to do that? Is he not in range without the flash? I swear to God he's in range, and all he does by flashing here is just expose his team. Yeah, but if Seju flashes, that's good. You don't need to make sure you root him. If Seju flashes, you just back off with the rest of your team. I feel like he just exposed his team by doing this. Look, when he does this, it's so easy. Like, he's only going for the binding on this guy, you know? Like... blows. Now, if you had Vayne, you'd be chilling at every point. Lol. Wait. Wait, so this is... so this is still a replay, and then the replay ends. Okay, cool. Replay ends. On this rotation, we have priority on bot lane. Sion got a priority... no, Jace got a priority back on top and is coming out of base. Sion got second. Sion, from this position, could look to do a path where he impacts mid. He doesn't have teleport though, so Jace will just get free turret, but he could still look to do like this into top, depending on how Jace plays next wave. If Jace starts free hitting on next wave, then obviously you just go straight top. With Obstinatus showing in midsection, Ezreal's not scared of being here. So I don't know the point, obviously, at which Obstinatus showed here, but Obstinatus showing here at all means that Rakan doesn't have to show bot. Whereas if you wait on your show, Rakan has to show bot because you're worried Karma's here, right? And if Karma's anywhere here, Ezreal can't play next wave, so Rakan has to be there. But if you show too early, without Rakan showing bot first, then you'll be in a situation where you're just straight matched, and then suddenly the bot priority only matters if Xayah's moving there, but Xayah is again straight bot. I don't know if what's happened is that Xayah has just shoved out bot, or if Xayah's coming back from base having shoved out bot, right? I don't know, because there was a replay. If it's the latter, if it's the former, I mean, where she's just shoved out bot, then where she is right now is fine, right? She needs to go shallow if she wants to enter mid. If she's coming back having shoved out bot, then, yeah, then I think she went the wrong path again. Or, I should say, going bot with bot already shoved out, because I feel like it just slow pushed in there while everyone was fighting. But yeah, this leads to Movistar being able to have man advantage in mid, right? This is the position at the end of the replay, so the last position we knew. And Maokai's going top here and cleared Wolves into this in that time. I mean, the fact that this is done, like, solo... like, there's so many weird things about Obstinatus this game. The fact that this is done, like, solo as well is kind of weird to me, but I don't know what happened while the replay was playing. Because Maokai's done these camps, and that's... and that's weird, because he did Wolves into Gromp, whereas if you're planning to do mid-play, you just do Gromp Wolves into mid, no? Or hell, you do Wolves Raptors into mid. But you'd want to play on this side. Like, but then you just wait away for this. There's no pressure to do it on this. I don't get it. Like, if you don't show here, you get a huge man advantage from not just having the Maokai there, but Rakan being bot side. Xayah could have been hit. Like, there's so many advantages just chilling. I don't understand this. So, one might wonder why Ezreal is going for such an insanely suicidal trade. And that's because if everyone's coming here, remember, who really wins in a 1v1 trade, right? It's always the guy whose jungler can capitalize on it, right? And right now the whole fucking map is coming out to capitalize on anything that happens here. So even if Super takes a giga losing trade, unless he dies, she dies to the incoming, right? You kind of know this is the state of things now. It looks to me like Xayah's already kind of locked in with her when the play goes south. So she already kind of knows the play's going a bit south, because even if she doesn't know if Sonatas is going to die here, she knows that they'll have priority on the next wave. So I don't think she should let herself get caught over terrain here. It was a good job by Super moving up and trying to lock her there and making sure he gets damaged down. Like, it's a losing trade, but it's what is needed. Rayta kind of just needed the HP to outplay whatever the fuck's gonna happen here. Obsnatus has respawned because we're that early in the game. Even though it's like a kill a minute. Oh! He's not bad. I'd have loved to see him on Vayne. Oh god, imagine Ezreal tried to step 2 here. And this was Vayne. Imagine Ezreal steps 2 here and it's Vayne, man! Imagine! Oh, he's dead! Whatever. I bet, like, feathers feel so useless in this lane. Like, they feel fucking useless. I mean, he outplays the dive, but he also lost. Well, first off, Obstinatus died, but, like, he also lost other minions as well that are more valuable. So do Movistar lose this game then? Because Rebels right now are 12, right? So I guess Rebels have to come back and win this game. Which is impressive, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. How long does this game even last? Oh my god. Alright, one VOD review today, guys. Oh. Alright. We don't let ourselves get lazy. Dude, back in the day, in 2018, the spring had this meta which was super late game, and at like 20-30 minutes, everyone on the team would start being like, "We're gathering up a storm, boys! We're gathering up a storm!" Good times. What? I did not do that. Alright, I was on like 18 something. Okay, cool. I just want to see if this is enabled by anything insane. Because, like, I see a Haha sick here, right? So you'd think should be a good situation for Orianna, but Orianna behind on teleport and 0 mana. So she kind of just has to let it be. Silas gets a wave reset on the tower because we're at that kind of itemization and those kinds of levels now, right? We're post 7, so we're no longer really... Slow pushes aren't really real things at this point. Unless you're, like, able to super hard win trades, they aren't real things. So wave resets will happen almost by default, and Zico just doesn't have TP. So there's no reason for Frescoe to care about this if he has the TP timer. So if he has the TP timer, he knows he has the roam timer, so he goes top. Everyone outplays everything here except Obstinatus, so great banger. Hey, the DPM, what's up, my man? Now Oriana's back in. See, notice the decision not to just hit the wave here, right? Whereas beforehand, we knew something was about to happen because Oriana moved right up to insta-hit the next wave. A key decision by Zico that indicated that he knows, he's aware that he has a roam timing here, and that there is something to do with the roam timing, right? By not doing anything here, you're going to guarantee deny Frescoe at least this minion. His TP might be in time for this one, but I doubt it. So you could deny him like 2 minions before he's back, right? At the very least, you deny him a wave state if you start pushing now, where he could get an all-in over here. So Zico's playing lane for himself, which means he knows that there's no opportunity to play for anything else right now, right? No neutrals, not going to play with Maokai for Scuttle, not playing to defend jungle, none of this. Not playing to dive top, nothing like this, right? But this is a decision you have to make every single wave. Right? Every wave, you have to decide, am I playing this wave for me or for the team? And if you can play the wave for the team, you play it for the team. But that doesn't mean can I go and chunk Scion. That means can I go and dive Scion, gank Scion for a summoner or a kill when it's beneficial, right? On a champion like Oriana, you would never gank for a summoner, but you might gank for a guaranteed kill. Right? To defend my carry jungler. You wouldn't really defend the Maokai jungle here in favor of yourself, should be the other way around. To do a neutral objective, right? That is almost always going to be the case. Eriko, thank you so much for the 17 months and the very intelligent use of your Prime. I'm at the point where looking at a picture of my own food makes me hungry. So by playing for oneself, we are avoiding all-ins. The big thing here for me is that there's not a single minion to play on here. The reason you'd play on a minion now is to try to get a freeze situation off on Sylas. Otherwise, you'll just go for wave reset on the tower with this. And that's basically guaranteed, right? So I don't know why he'd be up here at all. Like, if you know a contest happening here, why not back off? If you back off and Frescoe shoves the wave, you catch the wave. Like, this is just like, I mean, this is just a lower quality game than the one we watched with LFL BDS. I'll say that. Well, I mean, she has a free TP, I guess. Great. The thing is, like, off this, you're in the same situation bot that you were the last time mid-play went well, but it's like, previously, there were some weird timings that maybe the replay just didn't clarify for me why those timings were. Here, it's like, great. My mid-brain AFK'd, so I guess I'm fucking dead. Fantastic. I guess maybe the reason you wouldn't beg to pick Vayne is because you know you're going to be in situations like this, but let's be real, right? If you're Vayne and they try to go for situations like this on mid, the moment they show mid here, right? You're just like, you're pressing R and this Ezreal is running for his life, you know? So you may think Xayah pick makes sense, but now I'd argue Vayne pick's even better. Because if you know they're going to just abuse mid over and over again like this, you just 1v1 the Ezreal on repeat, you know? Now you might be saying, but Veteran, then maybe they wouldn't be making the plays on mid. Great! Great! Brilliant! That's good! Look at that pathetic level of non-Vayne damage. Truly disturbing. Oh! The outplay. That's basically all this is good for right now, is just living. I really hope Reito does some god tier play to bring them back in the game. Reito and Raven do not deserve this. Everyone else can get fucked as far as I'm concerned. It's so painful dropping this much CS as well. Because in my head, I feel like chat's gonna be somehow blaming him for being multiple waves behind Ezreal. When there's like nothing else he can do here. Ah! Model this as a Vayne. Model it as a Vayne. Oh! Oh! Oh, man. Oh, no. Anyway, now that we have a rotated bot and denied Reito another fucking wave, let's see if Zico decides to be suicidal on mid again. Ahaha 6 helping him out with the crash. They're actually on a pretty good timing here for Drake, right? Obsnotus does this, goes shallow, no vision to make a pick here. Ahaha 6 makes sure to cover flank. Alvaro goes shadow and goes with Frescoey here, showing here's a mistake. You should just oink here, and if they go in on Frescoey, you disengage that way. But if you show here, now Karma knows that she can enter river, basically unabated, right? Look, Karma's going this way. Then he shows, changes, right? Because now, it can only really be Sedge here, and you have Maokai to flank that, right? Alvaro shows here, you can enter river first. If you enter river first, then these guys are contesting you onto the Drake. Oh! Alvaro's going for it. Oh no! I mean, there's no Maokai ult. That's like the first thing I'm thinking. The next thing I'm thinking is it really necessary to do this? When Sedge doesn't have mobility to do much now? Like, you're thinking about controlling this guy, no? But maybe I'm trolling there. Okay, well, MRS had to fight for control back, and they fought and won. So let's just take the game with that in mind. Rather than, you know, question why... Oh god. Why would you queue here? Instead of queuing here. Or here. Like, if you queue here and Maokai E's here, we know where they are. If you queue here and Maokai E's here, we know where they are. Like... This doesn't do anything for the game. This doesn't do anything. And then why are we like melee with Maokai here, by the way? Like, you should already have been going this way towards Zico and standing with him. But yeah, whatever. Dude, Raven's being just silently not inting. He's just silently not giga inting the game away. Did I miss? Wait, did I giga troll? Hold up. No shot. Okay, so on this rotation down, the first time that Reito loses all of this, they get the Herald, and I just didn't notice that they got Herald. So Rebels got held off of this particular play. That was nice. Going all the way back forward again. Okay, cool. But then if you have Herald... But then if you have Herald, this is easy. If you have Herald, why aren't we just dropping it? And forcing a contest here? Whatever. I feel like if you go back and look at that sequence then all they had to do was drop Herald for priority in mid and then roll in. But whatever. What are these moments where they just randomly remove the builds and the cameras? Like, I keep thinking it's a replay. God, I remember there was one company that took over, I think it might have been NLC at one point, years and years and years ago, and the producer unironically, like, it was like a sub-league. It wasn't the main one, it was like a sub-league of the NLC, and the broadcaster genuinely thought that, like, having the builds up here was bad. So no game had them. No game had them for, like, at least a full day before everybody drilled it into his head that you need that, you know? Fleepo Malone, thank you for the follow. I want to say it was a lower division of the NLC, but I might be wrong. Okay, no more plates, but we got someone to the Jace, which is nice. Jace going Gore Drinker against a heavy all-in composition, fair. I mean, the items here are just, like... Honestly, Maokai's kind of chilling, but that's just a function of his build pass. But, like, the Everfrost plus Needless on Frescoey versus this. Ezreal's really chilling. Oh, it's a tierless Ezreal. Nice. I've been thinking you don't necessarily need tier on Ezreal anymore. With Navori second. Like, I actually don't think you need it. So this is actually a faster curving Ezreal than it was before. That's really nice. I actually haven't seen people do that yet. Okay, but like, you get blue buff. But you do it like hella off tempo. Like, she gives up a wave to get blue buff here. But I guess, like, it's like the hamsters that were, like, taught not to eat certain things by getting them electroshocks. She's just scared to show on any wave now. Like, the Maokai wasn't doing the blue and then giving it to her. Orianna just, like, oinked here while Frescoey ate a wave. Now the whole bot side is gone. Sure, it's canon, but my issue is that, like, it's a completely free roam timer. But I guess now Movistar at the point where they can take any fight that they want at all, so you're not thinking it's so worth to even bother contesting. And off of this, Reito gets the treatment he's been getting all game. And now the tower is actually down for it. So we're right on time arriving into the mid game. The fight begins as all great fights do, with Obstinatus getting rammed and pile-drived. Great. I won't harp on that because I feel like I've brought up Obstinatus more than anyone right now. And like Alvaro played the early points of the lane way worse, so it's like I wouldn't even necessarily say subdiff. Okay, but we're actually trading 1-for-1 the towers. I regret so much that we just haven't been watching top most of the game. Okay, so Sion does this move, shifts into mid while you make a hard play bot, and that allows Jace to play heavy for turret here. Okay, cool. So they play 2 lanes for 3 lanes, so you're not actually that worried here. You know you're losing this eventually, but you're getting 3 lanes of XP for 2 lanes of XP against MRS, so Rebels are scaling better, except for Obstinatus, who is not scaling at all. Orianna only needs defensive vision here so she can touch the next wave. You know where Sion is, you know where they're all coming from. Just let it shallow reset. Just let it shallow reset. You don't have to touch every wave. Jace needs to reset now and go back. I mean, reset the wave now and then move out. If he has the money to go back, he goes back. If he doesn't, then I guess he shifts mid into potentially a play. So he's fake pressured mid here, but he's... I have to make sure that I'm not covering the map. He's fake pressuring mid here, but he's not committing to a play there. There isn't a Drake to go full bot. Maokai's on reset. So all you do is give the perception of a +2 in mid lane at any point. See, they even think that this could be a play for Herald going on here, right? What is Oro? Is this gold? This is gold, right? Because of the circle thing. If you wanna remove the boss's strat, just make it so when you die you're not earning passive gold. Fuck it. Including while you're in Sion passive. Interesting. I like a map state where you either... I think right now what you want to be doing is you want to be sending... I think they did this whole thing on delay. So the issue with sending Sion mid here is that you're kind of late on the next swap. Because here, Sion can't go for Prior. And he hasn't reset either. And you have Sejuani playing bot side. Whereas what you want to be doing right now is playing for this Herald on next rotation. So I think all of this is opposite land, but they're really valuing giving Frescoe the blue. But as a result, these guys get priority on Herald area first, right? To the point where you have to burn blue trinkets to make sure they're not doing it. They can do it now, but I think the issue of dragging Sion down was you end up in this situation, right? Whereas I think if you don't drag Sion in towards mid, right? I think if you don't do that, and Sion's top already, because he would be top already, he would be here, and Sion has this crashed out, you just have these two reset, they go top, then Sion on that reset goes mid, or goes bot, right? With Frescoe, and you play for Herald on spawn. But you want your ADC basically, like, up here right now, right? Like, Jace wouldn't be there on this wave, Jace would be, like, here, and you'd have ADC support coming out, and support could open in river, right? And Sion could even shadow that, right? Like, you don't necessarily have to leave Sion. Like, say Sion pushed out and oinked here, and you reset this into topside. Then I think you're really chilling. And Zico also can't just pressure mid or something. But you want to just set up an optimal swap scenario. And I think they missed out on the timings to the extent where there was actually a window here. There was actually a window here with Jace Maokai. But they don't know that Maokai's reset. I think neither side recognised the opportunities there. But that's something they should look more into. If you could have set up a really optimal swap scenario as Movistar there. Because maybe it doesn't punish you this game, but that will punish you later. Especially against BDS. Like, I was really impressed by BDS's macro.
And of course, Veteran retweets it like 4 months later and sends his whole EU army at me.
Hi boss, 46 months. Time flies, I guess.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Alpha00. Thank you so much for the 46 months. I have a small following, but it's a dedicated one, and I really appreciate that, guys. Thanks. Sorry that I keep plotting ways to extract more money from you. Which will happen with the Patreon. I mean, really standard, right? Like, you have priority top, you don't have priority bot, so you just send your straight 4-man mid. You don't care about Sion economy here, right? So Sion will just make a play here and use his teleport to catch wave top, if he really has to, right? But you just ram it all up mid, and you abuse the fact that the enemy is actually on a delayed reset compared to you. Yes, they're on the delayed reset compared to you. So you have numbers advantage now because Rebels did not choose to match your resets. And because they didn't choose to match your resets, they definitely lose this fight. Any gold Rebels got in the last few minutes, they haven't spent. You have spent all your gold. You also kept everybody on or off the map. And at the same time, you're in a good position here to take a fight as Movistar. Super should preferably not take every Q. Rebels kind of have to fight if they want this, but it's not a fight that they can win because of the reset thing and because of the fact that they are just monstrously far behind already. So instead, what you would do would be you'd be like, okay, we accept that we've gotten one of these. They only have one of these, so this doesn't bring them to soul point. This brings them on the 5-minute time with a soul point, which effectively means there's 10 minutes until we have to worry about that. We'll play for tempo instead. And you instead try to play mid lane, and you try to play top lane. You play their jungle, you deny them as much XP and gold as possible, you get yourself as much XP as gold as possible, and maybe even grab one of these, right? Movistar would then be forced to use the Herald to try to counter that. But I think that dopamine spike is going to counter any rational thought. So they're gonna, so they'll just do it again. See, now the argument is, well, if we'd played for economy like you wanted, we wouldn't have gotten the Drake, would we? Fine. At least Obstinatus died again. Okay, I mean, they're losing the fight, so you see what I mean, but it's like, they shouldn't have the fucking Drake. This should be a free Herald drop now, whereas you could have threatened this and this, right? You dragged Orianna down from this, you have all these jungle camps up, you have this to threaten. You threaten this, and then you play towards topside if they contest. If they go back towards Drake, then you lose to Drake and go back towards mid, right? If they don't peel off of Drake, then you get the bounty here, right? Just play for all of this in a situation where you can't win fights. Are you not tired to be consistent? True. It's just fraudulent behaviour by me, to be honest. I apologise, guys. The play is always just go and steal it and then lose 4 members. Fuck it. Find 3 members. Just fist true. Just fist it through. I'm telling you, the dopamine spike that they got from this Drake steal is going to make all, like, if you try to analyze this point in a VOD, all they will feel is the dopamine they got from this, and so they will not, they'll just be blanking out your words, you know? Like, it won't matter. Sadness. I'm actually just sad. Alright. Replays last way too long in this ERL, so don't know how we got to this map state. I surmise that MRS have not recalled, but I don't know. Xayah has, though, and is off the map, but Scion and Frescoe are also off the map to any practical extent. They're not on the area of play, right? So on next wave, that will change for both. Making sure they get good on next wave, though, is what you want. So Super does a hard reset on mid wave, and they lean heavily to Frescoe for the next objective, which is top tier 1, and the exit objective, which is full vision control of Baron Pit. We're similar to the BDSK court game, we're not that worried about flank potential from the teleports, right? So we can model it as primary, secondary. Sion's definitely in the game now. He can do a hard shift into mid into you threaten these 2 lanes, right? And then the best thing these guys can do is just try to play 3 lanes at once, but there's genuinely a risk that Sion's able to shove out with the fake pressure from top to mid, which would then turn into a mid to top dive. Yes. I think I know what you're asking, Novaris, and yes is the answer. You still go the non-LDR Last Whisper item on Ezreal, yes. And yes, this build path means he could be doing that, but this build path means that he's most likely just going for... I want to say Prowlers in this game is what he should go, but he might just go Eclipse. Eclipse is better now for Ezreal, now that this is a part of the build path rather than Vampiric Scepter, so... Hello? Okay. So this was really sloppily executed. In what regard? Well, instead of fake pressuring the crash on mid, right, and then leaning into top, they full commit to the play on mid into bot, right? So you didn't do this Sion mid into top thing. Now they're trying to play 3 lanes. But what should happen here is Frescory should be fake pressuring here, but they don't even have control of the path in, right? Like here, they lose control of it. So Frescory should be releasing this wave and going shallow to join them, and you play these 2 lanes. Because if you do this, you could potentially threaten the Jace. What happens if you do that, though, is you give up the Baron. So I think instead you play off of mid, back in towards top to fight for this control with Frescory going shallow. Instead, they do this weird thing where they're like playing 3 lanes at once, when there's no reason to. You're in late game scenario now. You have a massive lead, you shift Sion into mid, you shift into top, and you play Baron. That should be the play every time. Or you're like trading Baron for Jace because they have fuck all damage. I don't know. Like, I don't think that's worth though. But this in-between thing you're doing where you're just playing 3 lanes at once, fuck knows. Fuck knows. So that's why this fight looked as close as it did. Ultimately, it's a win for them. They get this grouping off. I don't think Sion should be having to use TP here. If you do the setup I did, Sion could be here with them now and be looking to teleport down here to defend the wave, right? As is, I feel like Frescory is either going to have to burn TP bot to defend the tower, or they're looking for a TP flank for him, but this is like the only realistic ward he could do it to. I guess he could technically do it to the wave on mid. He's choosing to do it to the pink. Zero TP's up for the next play because of their terrible map state on the opening of late game. Like, their first late game pass was so sloppy that with a 8k gold lead, 17 for 2 kills, like, it looked very close both times, and they lost a lot of resources doing it. They've gotten the Baron, but we're criticizing MRS from a point where they have this significant of a lead, right? Is that coca fat? What is that? Oh, cacaolet. Okay. So it's like chocolate. Okay. I thought that thing was cocoa fat. Like high-fat Coca-Cola or something. Like, what? Doesn't the C look like a Coca-Cola C? Oh my days, man. Yeah, like, Jace should not be this close to taking this out. Like, Jace was getting way too much for free this whole time. So they open on 2 lanes instead of 3. 3 lanes is for those non-Baron scenarios. 2 lanes is what real men do with Baron. This is a very confused team. Bot tower has been taken, for sure, though. So nice catch-up gold happening there. Overall, the gold totals have swung in favour of MRS again, but still. Now they're shifting into another 2-lane setup around the Drake. I mean, they're going really hard for picks, but the game is way simpler than that, guys. Like, you have an all-in team. You have all of this vision that you should be consolidating on this side. The moment any of these guys autos any of this vision, you all in. Job done. You will have terrain, pockets of terrain that you can hide behind. Say you hide here and they go there. Say you hide here and they come around here. And you have this warded, right? Like, you have so many ways to set up a play in your favor. You don't have to go for these, like, extended picks, right? Just consolidate the vision. Game is easy. Game is easy, guys. Chillings. They're sieging again. Decide what you want to do, guys. Decide what you want to do. I guess they did that until the crash happened. They're thinking about the Drake as an exit goal. That's good. That's good. Like, utilize the Baron while you have it. I mean, do you have to be re-pushing this wave out, Marky? Like, again, the game is simple. Let's just back off, consolidate our vision, bait them around here. You're either playing for tier 3s or you aren't. And it looks to me like you aren't playing for tier 3s. So do you have to even be here at all? Do you have to be, like, oinking here with the... Like, why don't you want them to go in? Surely you want them to go in and meet a fully charged Scion slamming Q. Like, do we need to... Like, they aren't playing for tier 3s. These guys look like they're playing for bait. But you're not. And this guy, I don't fucking know what he's doing. You know? This guy is on the toilet. Right? Frescoe is on the fucking can. Oh, he's going to solo Drake. Why? You need to sneak it away from your own team. Like, just take full control. But, like he has a sweeper. Like, why aren't they just dragging him in and baiting enemy in? Like, why shove one out? These guys would love to catch These guys would love to catch another wave up here. They would love to catch another wave up here, mate. Why are we doing it? Do it if you're going to commit to making a play on it. Otherwise, let's make a play down here. How do I pronounce this? Jaizy, thank you for the follow. I really hope I didn't butcher your name, mate. But thank you for the follow. This would be Soul Point if Ahaha Sick wasn't a strong believer in the faith. You know? Remember, guys, proper macro is fleeting. Faith in the Lord is eternal. The kingdom of heaven is forever. Great. Well, we've made a pick. They are insta-spamming bot. I guess I need to find an analytical thing to say. I like the two-man setup here, but it's like an 0-0-2 setup. And if the point of an... okay. I love 0-3-2 setups. Right? You guys know I love 0-3-2 setups. I fuck with that, right? But, like, the reason I like them is because if you're in this kind of a position... I mean, let's just make it really accurate. If you're in this kind of a position, right, these guys can't influence this play at worst. At worst, they can't influence this play. Because your guys are contesting them on the wave and are able to deal some damage, which, in fairness, with your composition, with the amount of poke they have, is feasible, right? Given that this isn't real, you've isolated a 2v1, right? And in a 2v1 scenario, this setup becomes a pressure setup, where you pressure here, which pressures mid, which pressures here, which pressures mid, which pressures here, until both of you are going forward, until this guy finally reaches here and can start influencing, right? You have the possibility to do that here, but these guys are in Africa, this guy isn't showing, so these guys will push, so these guys can influence bot. Can I make the map bigger? I can zoom in. Woo! Woo! Does that make any sense to you now that, like... Now it's just a bunch of fucking squiggles that you didn't see me do live. TLDR. OV1. 3v3. 2v1. This is negating each other, right? These guys should be able to poke them off, especially because you have Karma, Reito on a Zaya, and you have Maokai here. If they are denying them access here, then this is a 2v1, so this goes forward, then you juggle that into mid, then you juggle that back, then into mid, then back, and suddenly both lanes are able to go forward until this guy moves here and is able to influence. Good? Good. Right now, pray that I put this on YouTube if you didn't catch that, or subscribe and you can get the VOD whenever you want. You know what? I will pop my epic pen cherry at some point. Tomorrow, maybe. Like, tomorrow I'll start using epic pen on the game, right? Anyway, that's why this happened, because they did half of a concept. They did the 2-part, but not the 3-part. So, if you're not doing the 3-part, don't do the 2-part. It's fine not to do the 2-part, because that wave's moving back into you, because the enemy has so many levels ahead of you that the wave's coming in no matter what the fuck you do. So chill. Or do the 3 and the 2-part, and then it could be a good play. Or do that after chilling for a bit. Either way. Now this is the really intelligent strategy. Stratagem. Tactic, if you will, of let's just ram ourselves up mid lane with our insurmountable gold lead and pressure in all lanes. You win bot because there's 0 people here, you win mid because you're just big, and you won top ages ago because 0 people were there because they were doing like an 002 goal. So top's on a delay, bot's faster, you win mid through sheer numbers. So 4-1, but Fresqui isn't here yet, and we're already looking to engage. Alvaro is speeding in, because there's a numbers disadvantage right now. It's 4v3, so they don't feel like they need the Silas here 100%, and if he is needed, he can TP on one of these minions, or this ward, or anything, right? Jace just has to, like, you know, yeah. Orianna could firstly come here, but they think they can make a fast play. Reito is delaying like a motherfucker. Oh! Get him on Vayne, man! Observe! Okay, I can tank that. I can tank that. I don't know what the fuck the flash was about. But fuck it, it looked cool. And then he gale forces over the Q from Marky! Woo! Woo! Fucked them up. He made them dizzy. Now you're regretting not having Fresquerie here. Now Orianna and Jace are double TP flanking because they heard me say in the VOD that we're not worried about flanks on them. So now they're double TP flanking it. Fresquerie can't quite decide where he okay. Fresquerie really can't decide what he wants to do. Oh no. It was lost ages ago, isn't it? So, first off, team fight analysis is always in. But, fights are never 5v5. Even 5v5 fights. So, let's break this down. 4v3, right? Now, we're in. What is this really? What this really is right now is a 2v1, potentially 3v1. Now it is a 3v1 and a 1v2. That's what it really is. He's invulnerable, so right now it's 3v0. And he gets out of the 3v1 situation, but this guy was stuck 2v1 that whole time, and he wasn't able to outplay because he didn't have the same tools Zaya did to outplay with, and it just isn't as good. So this 2v1 goes in Rebel's favour. The 3v1 goes in MRS's favour, kind of, because if this guy has Bloodline, he's going to be able to get HP back, and he's at least at a range where he can play with his front line, so it's become a 3 versus 3 from a 2v1, 3v1. The 3v1 didn't go well, the 2v1 did, and the 2v1 was Rebels. They go in, by immobilizing him first, and these guys continue to go, this is now a 3v1, and this HP doesn't matter anymore, right? So we have a 3v1 here. Marky has to flash to get away from that, Super goes over the wall, so this continues to be a 3v1. It could be a 3v2 depending on what Isma does, but Fresquet isn't part of any play yet. This is now a 2v1 threat on Super. Yep, so 3v1 here, 2v1 on Super. Fresquet needs to decide if he wants to make it 2v3 or to 2v3 in Rebel's favour or 3v2 in MRS's favour here. But he's clicking over here instead of going a direct beeline this way. He could go here, flash over and go on them, right? If he wants to just make a numbers advantage ASAP. Would he be at more of a disadvantage? Sure. But instead he clicks this way. He thinks to do the Maokai ult way too late in the play. He's already moved from here to here. Now he does it. He's still taking a really slow route because he just can't decide what he wants to do. That's why I'm looking at this and being like, Fresquet really doesn't know what he wants, right? Fresquet really doesn't know what he wants. Now in this time, what was a 3v2 here has become a 2v1. So he could commit here and go 2v2 for a win here, because this is now a 3v2 or a 3v3 with one flank, which they could try to turn into a 3v1, but they've probably burned things. But right now, either decision could win them the fight. He just has to commit to one, and he doesn't know what he wants to do. That I would always call a situational awareness moment. Especially with Sarm passive there, I think you can go on the 2v2. There may be ways you can get into the 3v still, but I think even then flashing wouldn't work. But I think ultimately the big killer was when he does this move. Like, what are we doing, mate? Like, you're getting closer here, or you're getting closer here. Doesn't know what he wants to do, so there is no numbers advantage in those fights for Rebels. For Movistar, I mean, so Rebels are actually able to win, despite being really far behind. Again, fights are never really 5v5. You can break them down into, like, 3v1, 2v1, blah blah blah, right? And if you start looking at that, the story of the fight becomes more obvious. This is also better for, like, storytelling purposes than it is for serious analysis. If I am breaking down team fights while coaching a team, I'm probably inting. So this is always something that only really matters if I know I'm going to talk about these fights on a talk show or on like on a stream like this or on a broadcast, you know, this kind of stuff. Okay, Baron setups, Scuttle's being taken, so that can't be cleared. Everything else can be. I mean, it's the same Baron dance that you'll always see, right? But it feels to me like they get a bit impatient. So they go for a hard reset on mid-wave, because you do win group fights still, you know, again, if they're actually groups. But what you do off this is you then take vision, re-push, and then bait Baron. Instead, Isma just goes in on the first thing because he feels pressure for no reason. So let's do the breakdown again. Initially, this looks like a 1-2-3-4v1. Alvaro can instantly make it a 2v4. Raven will then come in before these guys come in. right? This looks to me like a fight where no matter what, Rebels will have a numbers advantage at every stage of the fight, because this guy is feeling very impatient. So numbers advantage. See how these guys are in the fight, these guys aren't, right? You see that?
4 months later.
So they're 2v1ing Isma, these guys are zoning Marky. What's up, Osmosis? Thank you so much for the 11 months. So now Isma just gets forced out with no real response. Marky revealed himself to be flanking, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5v1. Not really a 5v5. Principle works in any game at all. A lot of the time it's as simple as break down the numbers. The numbers in lane, the numbers on the map, the numbers in the fight, the numbers in the fight within the fights. Just the raw numbers are generally where you're going wrong. If you start doing that, you'll get a much more accurate story than by going with feel. But if you never go with feel, you'll never steal the Chemtech, so... That Chemtech's doing serious wonders right now, because MRS could be in a position where they either go for the Soul or the Baron, and either one's fine for them, because if enemy goes for the Baron, they just win the fight with the Soul. The Chemtech's also arguably a useless Soul, so depends really on how you feel about that. I feel like they are in a position where the enemy can't make any good decisions, but now they can. Now Rebels can make good decisions. Notwithstanding that Sion just died. Right? Notwithstanding that Sion just died. So they take vision back with the numbers advantage. The enemy doesn't necessarily have sight of them, but knows enough that they're not... Probably not. No, they don't actually have... That's all pings. So they're going in to take vision back. There's no risk of them doing soul. Yes, Drake is being taken. Is being given, I should say, in favor of Baron control. MRS are again trying to do plays on two sides at once. But yeah, Rebels are deciding we're fine with this trade. If this was a soul, this wouldn't be doable. So, Ahaha Sick is doing a lot. Maybe they would try it, but it wouldn't be as effective, right? He's winning this month. Oh my god. So, theoretically, Rebels being here means you can get a good 5-on-5 situation, right? Or at least a favourable situation for you. But what do we immediately notice? Frescory is again 50 years behind on this engage. But they're pressured by the Baron going down like this, right? It's on 3k now. Easily burst from a 2.5k figure here. So they feel pressured to go now. So initially, they go in. You've got 3, you've got 5 versus technically 3, kind of 4. Kind of a numbers advantage initially. They all go in there. All these guys are Polos Eris. Look at Frescory. Look at Frescory. Frescory's trying to overcomplicate things, right? It's like he's trying to go for a flank, but now if these guys just move further towards this fight, they have a 5v4 at worst. And Frescory doesn't have a good way in without burning a critical component of his combo. He's instead immobilized, he's still not in. He's still not in. This is essentially a 5v3, right? If Super keeps missing these, it's genuinely a 5v3. Ahaha Sick gets it. And now, 3 are out for sure. And now that they have a grouping, it's only on 2. Frescory just being absent from these fights has been huge for this game. Like, absolutely huge. Yep, they're giving their lives. They're giving their lives. He'll have flash up on next. It's not such a big deal. R6 dead, but he did his job. He's laughing all the way to the bank. Interesting. Interesting. A lot of this game is just purely defined by Frescory not being in the fights. Like, they initiated that with Frescory well away, and same with the mid-fight, right? Initiated with Frescory well away. Veteran, should that be a big deal? Brother, look at his score. It's a huge deal. The fact that this guy's not getting into any of the fights is a huge fucking deal. That was going to be like the one fight Fresco actually is in. So does TP being down do anything for the map right now? Not right now, because you have 4 minutes until next. And honestly, like, flanks don't seem to be it for this team. They're just defending against Baron, but again, they win fights. And it's happening again. It's happening again. It's happening again. Also, what's this guy doing? Oh, he's speeding onto Jace. Okay, Fresco's in the fight. This guy's down initially. Okay, this should be a one fight, no? Easy two-man. Easy two-man. Easy two-man. Nice, 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 nice. Look, see? So, initiate. Still far away from Fresco, but this time, the judgment is not completely in. It isn't Isma initiating, it's Alvaro, but Alvaro has entered some of these engages before. They're not to the same degree of Isma's, but yeah. Okay, so that was essentially a 3v1 into like everybody on one, into, you know, 3v1 extended into 4v1, send to 5. Now you can collapse on Raven. Really easy. The collapse on Raven though, Raven delays them by a lot, so you're unlikely to get anything for this. Like, Raven's really trying to like burst a wave to deny them the ability to get much from it. Like, he's dodging all of that so that he can get the cannon there. Like, he's screaming for the cannon. Zico played away from the fight, and that's good because he shouldn't be looking to fight now anyway, right? But Zico's doing this into top, which is what we were talking about them doing on one of the Drakes that they contested but stole, so... I can't really talk about the Danny situation because I'm involved in a way, but... I just had to see if that guy has the same source as everyone else. Actually, I'll say this one thing. If you care about Danny, can you please stop publishing things about this? Because, like, I don't know why you guys think that publishing stuff like this about a guy who has massive amounts of mental health issues, well, this is like, going well for him. Like, I don't know. There's a reason the family's not commenting, man. Okay, I think that's a bit psychopathic to say you care more about the next Danny than the current Danny. I also care about the next Danny, but this situation isn't over yet. And how this situation ends will determine how we treat the next Danny. Can do a lot of things based on a justification of the next guy. You can do a lot. How does this go so wrong? Maokai's just piss broken, I guess. Like, this is always going to be an aggressive play. You're modelling it as a 3v3, but it's not real 3v3 because, like, half your fucking goal is on Fresco and you're playing away from him again. Like, again. They're so impatient. Like, why not just play with Fresco on this? Oh, after this fight, Frescoe didn't recall, really? But I mean, after that fight, you just all recall and then set up on next wave. Like, there's no point rushing it now if you can't all be there. Like... You don't need Medjay to... They haven't been playing with the Silas anyway. Alright, so they're finally all on reset at the same time. Jace is off. Jace does have teleport, so it doesn't matter too much. There are loads of flank wards, but I'm still not that worried about a Jace flank, because all he's realistically going to get on top of is Ezreal, and Ezreal has a lot of tools around that. I guess he doesn't have ult yet, but... Not ult, flash yet, sorry. Isma goes in, no one can insta-follow up. There's just no way. Like, of all the engages, like, Isma's have been the worst for sure this game. Like, he goes in, completely unparalleled to his team. Right now is good, because Alvaro's there. Alvaro's not there anymore. Not there, not there, not there. Look at the position of everyone. No way is this good. And he keeps going. He's isolated himself. Boom, easy collapse, right? At least 3v1, probably 4v1 here, right? To start off the fight. Guy gets heavy chunked. Gifts Oriana the ball. Alvaro does there. Alvaro down, Sejuani down. Now it's solely your carries with Fresco in the middle of everybody. I mean, the fight's just over. Like, and now Fresco's finally died. They win off this, no? They can just win off this. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole lot of impatience. Like, a whole lot of impatience happening there. With some terrible engage timings. And they always just play away from Fresco as well. Like, every single time where they could set up a really easy endgame situation for themselves, they just decide not to. And just push. You know?